Hello, hello. This is Yuri with Moving Sales Professionals and Let's Talk Moving podcast. And with me today, I got Thomas McCarthy with McCarthy Transfer and Storage, a company in business since 1919. Fourth generation movers here. How you doing today, Thomas?
Good, good, good. How you doing?
Good, good, good. Thank you very much for joining me. So as always, how did you get started in the moving industry? Other than, of course, than being the fourth generation mover and all.
Well, I mean, that nailed it right there on the head. I was born into it. So, dragged to work by my dad. When I was a kid, we showed up, first person to show up with my dad, last person to leave. For a long time, I lived and breathed moving. I learned how to drive on a forklift. Our forklift back in the day had a clutch. So, I could drive a car with a manual transmission before I learned how to drive an automatic from our trucks and forklifts because that's just what we had. And then when I just wanted to take some college classes, we weren't open because we were primarily a military mover at the time. I wanted to go take classes, go to school, go to college. And so I left the company when I started doing that. And then in 2007, that's when I came back. And officially, I took over the company in 2019. But I want to say prior to that, about 2015 is when my dad kind of started checking out. And whenever people had questions, he would say, "I don't know, ask him. He's the one that's taken over the company, so it's his problem, not mine."
Yeah, it must be nice. I think it's going to be a while before I can say that.
Yeah, he had a little too much fun with that.
No, I'm sure. I'm sure I'll have a little bit of fun with that when it gets to it too. I have two kids that talk too much, so I have two potentials.
Oh, there you go. There you go. You have two possible legacies that
I
could
do. I do.
take over the helm. That's awesome.
Yeah,
We we've got
it's gonna be
three,
interesting.
and we've got one that works with us right now. We'll see. We'll see if their heart's in it, and if moving, if this could go to fifth generation.
And now for a word from our sponsors. If you're a moving business owner, you may have already heard of Moversville, an email marketing service that helps moving companies increase, repeat, and referral business. But have you heard of Moversville Connect? Moversville Connect is an incredible resource for all things moving. They feature an array of vendors and services that cater specifically to the moving industry. You can find companies that provide moving software, moving sales services, marketing services, moving equipment providers, and much, much more. Visit moversville.com today to learn more.
That would be interesting. Now, obviously, being in the industry for a long time, handing down, fourth generation, to you, what are the three most important things that a moving company owner should be focused on in order to build a successful moving company?
I would say that answer would have been different a couple years ago for me, but I would say now with just the economy and the way things are and the way the military model has changed for so many people,
Sure.
I want to say the number one thing a moving company owner needs to do is business development. If they're not out there helping the sales team and helping people learn about who they are and what they do, then how do people know who you are? So I want to say helping the sales team and helping your company grow by getting out there, meeting people, and spending time interacting with the community. Don't just be a turtle hiding in your shell. Otherwise, who's gonna be calling you? People really appreciate when they get an opportunity to talk to the owner. I found, like when you're talking to clients, when you're talking to realtors, when you're at any kind of type of event, and you're putting yourself out there, and you introduce yourself, and hi, I'm Thomas McCarthy from McCarthy Transfer and Storage. Oh, are you the owner? Yeah, actually, I am. Oh, wow, blah 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 blah, and then you can have a great conversation, and it's a little bit disarming, and it might be a little bit of an unfair advantage for that you have over the salespeople, but that's why you're out there, is to get out
It's
there and
relationship
help
building 101.
building relationships. You got to be doing that almost more than operations. That's, if you're not good at that, then you need to find somebody that is, to help grow your company. If you're just not a people person, you need to find somebody that is, to have them be the face of your company.
Absolutely.
Thankfully for me, I really enjoy talking to people, so that comes really easy for me. If that's not you, look, it comes easy for me, but even I still get nervous walking into a new room where I don't know anybody. But you kind of just got to do it, right? And then
Yeah,
that's what.
I think it helps a lot when you, as the owner of the company, are that. I think that that's a huge thing. And I think that overall, if you're not that, you can learn to be that. It's all about having that mentality. And like if that means you have to take some public speaking classes or something like that, because honestly, no matter how good you may find somebody, right? Nobody's gonna sell your own business better than you. Nobody, unless it's your kid that you're transitioning into it, who is, fourth generation mover or anything like that, right? Nobody else is gonna sell your stuff better than me. I, I don't, I have some great good people working for me, but even the great people that I have, I don't believe anyone can sell what I do better than I can.
I agree with you.
And it's the
That's-
same thing. It's the owner to owner communication. I think I'm the only moving company call center owner out there probably today that like maintains level of communication with owner of every moving company that's my client. Like I like that. I like because it's a different level of relationship. As an owner, you, me, we have connections automatically because we both know what we have to deal with when we deal with people. We both know what we have to deal with when we deal with other businesses. We both know what we deal with on the day-to-day operation of a business, right? And not to mention all the expenses and everything else. We can understand each other. Even if we don't know necessarily each other's expenses, we can connect.
Does your company need more creative marketing and ad campaigns to improve traffic and organic leads? Well, Moving Sales Professionals has a solution for you. We have partnered with social media marketing agency that has over 300 million views on their ads and videos across social media. And they have generated over $35 million for their clients over the last 10 years alone. Their services include content creation, social media ads, pay-per-click campaigns, website and funnel development, Google Ads, email marketing campaigns, lead generation, and much, much more. For a limited time only, they have discounted rates for their services. Sign up for a free consultation call with us via our Calendly link on our website or below this video.
Even different industries, you'll have a lot of the same headaches.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
same challenges. We found that during COVID, everybody was lamenting over it's hard to find people to go do the work. And it wasn't exclusive of moving companies, it was
No.
every service company. So, no, you're absolutely right there.
Yeah, I think, we all have to have those relationships. It's whether it's in the community or something else. This is people's business. And as much as I love AI and some aspects of it, I love that little feature that Ring Central now has that automatically writes down the notes as you're talking to somebody. And I can copy and paste those notes into the notes for the specific customer without having to just sit there and write them from scratch. I can click, and it's done, right? I think it's an awesome feature. But as much as I love that, I also think that with the moving industry specifically, this industry is so much about human interaction that I think that, like I said, if you're not good at this, you need to get good at this because that's going to allow your business to continue moving forward.
And then that's actually, honestly, a perfect segue into number two of your three questions, and that's personal development. You need to be developing yourself as a person. You can't stay stagnant. You've got to learn. You've got to grow. You got to improve your leadership. You've got to improve your health. You've got to improve your knowledge base. You can't, what worked yesterday might not work tomorrow. So what are you doing to make yourself better for yourself, for your spouse, for your team, for your family, for all aspects? You've got to be spending time developing yourself as well. So I would say that would be point number two, would be personal development through coaching classes, personal trainer. If you can do it, a personal chef that'll make you great food. So you're not always just doing McDonald's or fast food or any of that stuff that's horrible for you, but easy to go get.
Right. And the other thing too is that I think that the main thing that people forget in the moving industry, especially companies that have been in a long time, is that you cannot continue doing the same thing today that you did yesterday. That goes back to what you're talking about with personal development. You can't continue because technologies are changing. The market is changing. You have new companies that are getting into business that are embracing social media, that are embracing different tactics that you haven't used in the past because you didn't have to, right? But now you do, because if you don't, these new companies that are new to the business that don't have your level of experience, but have the technical savvy and have the knowledge of the current media market, if you don't stay on par with them, they're going to bypass you. Doesn't matter how much experience you have.
No, you're right. And we're seeing that whole social media aspect a whole lot more. And, we've been around for a long time, and I'm seeing these younger cats come in and they're passing us up because they're not scared of making the mistakes or or failing, because they've not done it before. They don't have they haven't been shown this is the way to do it. You know what I mean? That this is the way. So they're going and figuring out and pushing boundaries and pushing envelopes. And some of them aren't doing a great job. They're got that we'll move every customer once mentality, and they're not doing a great job for the industry. But at the same time, there's some other ones that are really doing a great job. Moving furniture is moving furniture. You know what I mean? Picking up a chair and taking it into a house, that's never really going to change. But how we approach it, how we interact with customers, how we market, all that is changing. And you definitely have to be able to adapt to that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to use a hockey analogy. Obviously, for those of you that know me, I'm a big hockey guy. And one analogy, it's kind of the the true pros in hockey that have been around for years, guys like Ovechkin, guys like Crosby, guys of that level, they have to reinvent themselves every year. They have to reinvent themselves because, nobody knew or thought of doing a Michigan until it was done. Nobody thought of doing some of the moves that they're making on the ice until it was done. And the same thing can be said about business, and the same thing can be said about moving industry. You have these new cats that are not afraid of trying something that older cats may be a little hesitant to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to you have to be brave at times, and you have to be able to willing to try new things. I mean, look, we failed before, but in order to do something great, you have to fail, you have to try, and you know, okay, you fail, you get up, you try it again, or you try something different, or you try it a different way. Ultimately, in order to grow your business and in order to get to that fourth, fifth, sixth, and so on generation, you have to keep up with new generations that are coming in.
A great quote by a hockey player, Wayne Gretzky, actually, was they asked him, how are you always so great at scoring? And I'm going to butcher this, but we'll just kind of paraphrase it. You actually might know it. But he said he would skate to where he saw the puck would be, not where it was. So that's what we need to do as an industry is try to figure out how to get to where things are going so we could leapfrog ahead versus always trying to play catch up.
And to mention yet another one of his quotes, since you brought up Wayne Gretzky, is that you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And
Absolutely.
that goes into that once again. So yeah, absolutely.
And it's so true because if you don't, I mean, people worry all the time, and I get caught up in it too, right? You're going to record a reel or you're going to do a post, but you get kind of nervous because I don't sound right. I'll do it later so that way the conditions will be right. That's not taking a shot. You know what I mean? That's skating away from the puck. So you got to take the shot or you're definitely going to miss.
Or for that matter, who knows? Maybe you're going to record it and it's going to be the best recording ever versus the one that you do later that's going to suck. You don't know which way you're going to be until you do it and you listen to yourself doing it or how you feel about it at the end of the day when it's completed, right? So, I do this all the time, and I can tell you, first couple of episodes, I definitely, first couple of things, not episodes per se, but first couple of things that I put out there, first couple of shorts, first couple of reels, I had to re-record them multiple times because I was humming and I was doing this and I was doing that and I was not looking at the camera the right way or I wasn't saying it the right way or I didn't like the way that I said it. So I was going through that too. And for me personally, this is like, this is like air. This is fun for me. I don't get nervous about this because I enjoy it. Going a little bit farther than that. So what's the third thing?
So after you've gone out and done like a business development, you're focusing on yourself. I would say the third thing that a entrepreneur, business owner needs to be doing is focusing on team development. Like if you're not spending some time developing your team and building culture, then what have you got?
And I love hearing that because frankly, that's like every company that we've had on here, especially the guys that have been like you, have been in business for a long time, second, third, fourth generation, and so on. They all say the same thing, and they basically end up turning that into talking about company culture. And that
Yeah.
is so important because you have to, if it starts with the head. If the owner is buying it, owner is getting into it, and owner is doing it, then so will the workers. They will buy in, they will support the product that's out there, and they will support the message that you're trying to send to the people around you and to turn it into business that you do. You want people to use you not because you're the least expensive, not because you're doing something that's like cheap or whatever you're trying to, but because you're doing it right and because you're bringing the value. It's always about the value. It's never about the dollar at the end of the day. It's about the value that you get for the dollar.
That totally makes sense. And that's why, like for our employees, like we and our customers, we strive to have well-maintained equipment. Like if you show up, none of our moving trucks are old beaters, they're all nice Kentucky bodies, they're nice trucks. We show up professionally. Our movers, we provide uniforms for, we expect them to be showing up in uniform. And then for like culture things we do, like every year we do a Thanksgiving breakfast for our employees where the leadership and office staff will cook breakfast for all the movers before Thanksgiving. Is just a way to say thank you for all the hard work. And then in the summer we try to do a couple barbecues where when we know the majority of the crew is going to be back, like maybe we all went out on a really big project or job or something like that, and we know the majority of the crew is going to be back by a certain time. We'll try to do a big barbecue that day and have burgers and hot dogs or carne asada or something like that, for that way the crew can come back and have food waiting for them. That's fun to do. It's hard to catch everybody, but it's nice when you can.
Yeah, it is because it shows a way of being grateful, and it shows you want to be humble. You don't want to be cocky. You don't want to be treating your guys with disrespect because ultimately, like for you, it's your movers. For me, it's my salespeople. Where would we be without them,
Yeah.
realistically?
And then in the summer, it gets over 100 degrees here in San Diego,
Yep.
especially in the East County. And so when we see days that are going over 100 degrees, we know it's going to be hot. So we don't get a ton of them, but we
Right.
get a handful of them. We'll go load up a cooler with Gatorades and water and ice, and we'll go have somebody go deliver them to the crew. They're supposed to take out. We've got igloos they could take out to fill up with ice water from the coolers. So we need everybody to stay hydrated. We want everybody safe because customers don't always have water available. But
Yeah.
we're trying to be responsible and have our crews go out prepared. Kind of no matter what. But then when they see us show up with like Gatorades or some energy drinks and some waters, they really love that because it's like a hot day, you're baking in the sun, you're working your butt off, and then you get that nice cold drink. It's so nice.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. You want to make sure you take care of your people. So, what is it that McCarthy Transfer does different or unique from their competitors? What do you do that's different?
I want to say what we do different than anybody else. It's just that it's our attitude, the way we take care of our customers. We like to think of, since we are a family company, that we treat our customers like family. We want it to be a smooth moving experience. We want our clients to use us again and again. So we really want to do our best to take care of our customers and be a resource for customers. But when I talk to people and strangers, like because I've been in moving so long and because there are rogues out there that are screwing up movers' reputations, like
Absolutely.
I tell people all the time, look, hey, if you don't go with me, that's fine. I want you to go with a professional moving company so you have a great moving experience. So that way I've got a chance to get you next time. Because if you don't use a professional mover, but you think you did, and you get hosed, you get somebody that tells you, hey, I know you got the quote for X amount of dollars, but I'm going to need 2,000 in cash because the estimate was off. If you ever want to see your stuff again, and you think that's a professional mover, hey, you're never going to use a professional mover. You're always
Right.
going to go to a rent a truck type situation. So I'm always trying to be like a concierge, a resource for people. And I try to develop that in our team, like, hey, be a resource. You want to do the follow-up. You want to be responsive. You don't want to just do an estimate and then hope that they call you back. No, you need to do your follow-ups. You need to be responsive, but do it in a way that shows care, compassion, and concern. So that way it's like, hey, I'm your moving concierge. I'm here to help you. We're here to make sure you have a very smooth move. So ultimately, when this is all said and done, the crew's gonna be out there. You're gonna be grabbing your smartphone. You're gonna be taking pictures, and then you're gonna be posting a 5-star review on Google and saying how awesome the crew was from McCarthy Transfer. And then next time you need a move, we're gonna be first on mind, and then you're gonna be telling other people about us.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. And ultimately, one of my favorite phrases is that good service isn't cheap and cheap service isn't good.
yeah, no, it's absolutely true. And I saw a visual demonstration of that. It was at a mechanic facility, but they had a picture of somebody getting a tattoo and they wanted a unicorn. And it was that same saying, but the one that was actually getting done, it was like a stick figure of a unicorn.
Yeah, basically.
Where you basically you're getting what you pay for. You want cheap, okay, you can get cheap, but you're not gonna get that concierge
Yeah,
level service.
You can't have everything. You can't have cheap and quality and packing and nothing damaged. It doesn't work because ultimately good movers want to get paid.
Yeah. And they want to get paid
And
well.
if you're going to pay, right, and if you're going to pay them, I mean, it's manual labor. It's hard, especially when you have to do it in 100-degree weather, it's hard. Would you want to go and work and lift heavy things in 100-degree weather? No, most people don't, right? So why do you think the other people do? They do because it's got to be worth their time. If it's not worth their time, they're not going to do it.
The customers that are a professional, that they're working, that their highest and best value of their time is doing what they do. So let us do what we do. It's just a struggle sometimes because people don't understand, like, you're hiring professionals. Not only do you have the cost of the employee, but all the costs that go on top of their hourly wage for healthcare, insurance, workers' comp, all that kind of thing. And then you want them showing up in a nice professional truck, don't you? Well, those things all cost over $100,000, and then all this stuff to equip it and maintain it. You're not going to get a high caliber crew with a high caliber equipment for $100 an hour.
No,
it doesn't exist anymore. If somebody's quoting you 100,
frankly, with what the government is doing, you're not even going to have that.
No, if somebody's quoting you $100 an hour, they're not a licensed and insured mover. I mean, maybe in Podunk somewhere, maybe, but in any of the major cities, especially California, to be a professionally licensed mover through the Bureau of Household Goods and Services, to have, your general liability insurance, to have workers' compensation insurance, to have trucks, to have equipment, to have people, to have a warehouse, $100 an hour don't cut it,
Yeah.
Like, and then if you think about it, like 2 men in a truck should be over $200 an hour, in my opinion, because we just had a plumber in our house doing some work in our house, and that's his rate for one person. It was a non-emergency call. Our tank was going out, so we went with a tankless, and his hourly rate for that was $200 an hour.
Yep.
But yet for a single move, for 2 movers, people are thinking they're going to get 2 men in a truck for dirt cheap, but yet a plumber, which is also a trade like we are, this guy, and he does great work, and I don't mind paying him his rate because he stands behind what he does. But how do we get people to see, that's one of my challenges I'm trying to figure out. How do people see the value of movers as a trade professional, not just like, hey, when I was younger, we got some friends and threw our stuff in the back of a truck with pizza and beer, and I don't want to pay a lot for this. How do we elevate the image of moving and storage so people say, I see what you do, I value what you do. You did a great job with my friend's move. You did an awesome job with my last move. I want to use you.
I think there needs to be more of a focus about the items that people specifically have in their homes. How much do you value the stuff that you have? Because ultimately, if you use your college buddies for beer and pizza. They don't care about the value of your stuff. They just care about the beer and pizza. So ultimately they're just going to get it done, and they're going to get it done quickly, and they're probably not going to wrap it, and there's probably going to be scratching, there's probably going to be damage, and there's probably going to be all that other stuff there's not going to be any value other than beer and pizza. So if
Yeah.
that's what you're looking for, then that's what you're going to get, but you're not going to get it with a professional mover. Professional mover is going to cost you, because ultimately, like, if people have nice things and they have nice furniture in their house, that's not furniture that's easily replaceable. That's not IKEA. IKEA you can replace, but you still don't want to. IKEA
Yeah.
is designed to be one-time assembly pieces, but you still want to move it 3 times, even though it's not designed for that.
Yeah, I always like to explain to customers when it comes to IKEA style furniture, the pressed wood furniture. When you bought this, did you buy this from the store assembled, or was it in a box? And they'll always say, well, it was in a box. I'm like, they ship it to you that way because the furniture will not survive transit assembled.
Right.
So it's not designed to be moved. This is truly disposable furniture. We will do our best with it, but just know, like, this is not designed to be moved. This is truly disposable furniture. I know you spent $200 on it, but just know you've got your $200 with it already.
Right. You got it worked one time. And if you happen to get it one more time or one more time after that, then you just got lucky.
Yeah, true.
So what are your goals? What are McCarthy goals for this year?
So for this year, for 2025,
Yeah.
our focus is expanding our COD reach. It's all about building our COD. So we've been predominantly a very large military focused mover, where we have handled so many DoD moves for people that are moving for their what's called PCS, or their permanent change of station. So in San Diego, we've got multiple military bases here, but you got Miramar, you got Camp Pendleton, there's the 32nd Street, there's the sub base. There's multiple bases here where people are moving in and out of San Diego, Norfolk, Virginia, 2 big Navy installations, huge lane.
Right.
So that's been a big emphasis of what we've always done in the past 30 some years. But the military's gone and changed the way they've done things. They've actually had the audacity to say that military movers make too much money. They charge too much money. They want to try to figure out how to get more money down to the street, to the people actually providing the services, not the move management companies, not the van lines, not the this, not the that. So in their wisdom, they decided to outsource this to one contract winner. And that contract was bid on pre-COVID, was awarded post-COVID, was argued in courts post-COVID, and then settled. And finally, the contract was fully awarded post-COVID. And they're doing all these moves on pre-COVID rates. And it's unfortunately not sustainable with the models we've performed. Yeah, you can keep the trucks and the tires rolling a little bit with it.
Sure.
But with movers, like in the past, it's been summer's peak. You get a lot of COD, you get a lot of military. That's when you make your money for the year, is in the summer, to get you through the winter. It's like a big giant bell curve.
Right.
Well, now with the new program, the summer rates aren't that great, and so people are not signing up
Well,
to
you're
do
making more. You're making more money to do personal moves than you do with military, which doesn't seem to be quite right, because military moves overall, as much experience as I've had with them, which is quite a bit, overall they're full packing moves. So if they're full
Mhm.
packing moves, that means more time is spent, more materials is spent. So you got to cover the cost of materials that were spent. You got to cover the packing time that was spent. So there was a lot more than your standard government rates for military moving would cover. So your profit margin is lower than what it would be if you in a busy season that you would make on a regular move that's not military, which hardly seems right.
Exactly. So they're bringing your profit margin down to basically zero. So or negative is what they're ultimately doing. We're going to see a big upset in the moving industry. We're going to see a lot of companies go out of business. I kind of feel with this. So with that, we're transitioning into working with more of a getting back to our roots of doing moves with just everyday people that are needing to move around San Diego, around California, out of California, because they're hey, they worked here, now they want to go live somewhere else. So we're trying to capitalize on that market and focus and develop that, so people see us as a quality professional resource that can help them with their relocations in and around California. That's our biggest goal. So that way we are transitioning. I'm not going to say no to military if it makes sense, but I don't want one line of business to be all of my business, if that makes sense.
Right. You have to diversify. It's the same thing. You got to be able to see different avenues, because today this avenue works better, tomorrow that avenue works better. Versus if you're one, the way the avenue goes is the way you go. So if it's down, you're down. If it's up, you're up. But like if it's in the middle, you're in the middle. But like it's better to like, okay, this one is up, this one's down, and vice versa. So you're able to work better and be able to adjust better what's going on, and your business is not as affected by the flow.
Exactly. How to be a little bit less tied to just one customer, so you can ride the storms instead of having big peaks and valleys like you're
Right.
saying. Maybe they're a little bit, you can have a little bit more of a steady flow. And that's what we're shooting for. So we're doing everything we can to get our name built up and getting people to know us out there as the moving authority in Southern California.
Awesome. That's great. Now, what is the biggest advice that you would like to give to new companies?
Great question. I've never been asked that one before. I would say for a new company, my biggest piece of advice would be to start small. Don't bite off more than you can chew, because this is a very capital intensive industry to do it right.
Yeah.
But I would say start small and do it right. Take the steps. Get your BHUGs, Bureau of Household Goods and Services license. Find a quality insurance agent you can work with, and find a mentor that could help develop you, or go work for somebody else for a little while and really learn what you're doing before you just jump in. Because the worst thing you could probably do for the moving industry is go out there, be one of these startups that go out there, don't do a great job for the customer because you're on an extreme shoestring budget, you don't have a license, you're not insured, your stuff, you damage the customer's stuff, and then you ruin moving for all of us. So
Yeah.
I would say start small, get a mentor, do it the right way, and help elevate the entire moving industry, including yourself. Because I truly believe the rising tide will lift all. So if we're all focused on providing a great experience for our customers, the moving reputation will get better.
I agree. So, Thomas, once again, thank you very much for joining me. Love to hear that final word from you. So thank you very much for joining us. And like I always say, the world moves on its own, so let the professionals move yours for you. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll talk again soon.